There's a world that exists within this one, where men battle for honor, pride, respect. It is here where champions are made, where the only rule is the rule of thumb. Join us live as Zach Sneak Attack Johnson takes on thumbnail champion Stan the Beast Jones.
We're in the weigh-in. My thumb couldn't have looked any better. I just had it trimmed a few hours before to make weight. Thought everything was fine. But Stan thought it would be good publicity for us to pose for some pictures. And he poked me in the eye with his off thumb. If he tries that again the next time, I'll make him wish that his thumbs were never born.
I'm just trying to get inside of his head, you know. It's a thumb world out there. And I'm just trying to keep him under my thumb the whole night.
If he tries that again the next time, I'll make him wish that his thumbs were never born. Once we're in that cage, I'll let my thumbs do the talking.
Maybe instead of fighting with his thumbs, he should be sucking on them, because that's what he is. He's a baby. What do I do to intimidate opponents? I punch their children.
Whether he likes it or not, he'll be leaving the cage in a thimble.
1, 2, 3, 4. I declare a thumb war.
Ultimate Thumb War Championship 35. Thumbs have never been more opposable.
Hi, I'm Daniel. Welcome to our series about conflict. We're going to spend 4 sessions looking at the people who cause conflict in our lives, like parents, friends, coaches, teachers, and even God. You're going to be watching some powerful stories from students, and then Doug Fields will be teaching us some biblical principles on responding to conflict in our life. Today, we're going to be talking about conflict with your parents. You both love you, so why is it so hard to get along?
I was addicted to gaming. Anytime I had free time, I would be on the computer, on the Xbox, on whatever, and I'd be playing with my friends trying to get, the best stuff you could get. The whole week would be like that. And then Sunday, when, you either want to sleep in or I'm up playing video games all night long, my parents would come and say, all right, it's time for church. And I would kind of sit there and be like, are you kidding? I'm doing this right now. I'm busy. I'm not concerned about all that other stuff. So my mom, she'd always get mad at me. And she would say, well, how come you're not studying? How come you're not doing this? I just tell her, I'm too busy. I'm playing video games. I don't want to. I've got better things to do than what you want me to do. And she would get mad, and we would have fights about that and stuff. One time, she was getting really upset, and she was really stressed out, and both of her parents had passed away, and it was just a hard time on everybody. And I back-talked her, and she just exploded. And, she started hitting me, and I got around her, and I put her in a headlock, and I just started yelling and screaming at her ear. I said, I hate you. I never want to see you again. I hope you just drop down dead right now. I hate you so much. You're just this annoying tick in my life, and I don't want to have to put up with you anymore. And I couldn't care less if you died right now. I mean, that'd make it easier. Then no one would be telling me to do the dishes. No one would be telling me to do all these chores, all my schoolwork, and I could do whatever I wanted to do. And I was just being a total jerk. That was the only time it really got physical. Other times it was just throwing stuff. But most of the time it was just arguing and screaming. And it would end by me screaming at her saying, I don't care what you think, I'm doing my own thing. And I'd, go upstairs, shut the door, and just keep playing my games. My biggest regret would probably be saying all the things that I said to my mom. How could someone say that about your family? And I said it to her face, and when I had her in the headlock and I was screaming at her, I said all these names and stuff, and I said I hated you, and she said that she forgave me. But there's no way that you'd be able to forgive someone for doing that.
Now, Chris's situation is obviously an extreme example of conflict within the home, and the first thing to say is really pretty easy, and it's that this type of violence is never okay. I mean, nobody wins with violence, and I'd say to anyone in a violent situation that you need to find an adult with whom you trust and talk to that person immediately about what's happening within your home. But there's another problem going on in Chris's story that all of us can relate to because we've all dealt with it, and it's selfishness. It's so easy to buy into the lie that the world around us really exist to make us happy. And I know I can slip into this type of thinking real easy. I start with thinking about what I want and what I need and how I look. And then I start treating people around me based on if they're going to help me get what I want or not. Just plain and simple, that's called selfishness. And the problems that you and I have in this world, they arise from selfishness. Not a few of our problems, not some of our problems, but all of them. As a matter of fact, let's take a look at what it says in James chapter 4, verses 1 and 2. What is causing the quarrels and fights among you? Don't they come from the evil desires at war within you? You want what you don't have, so you scheme and kill to get it. You're jealous of what others have, but you can't get it, so you fight and wage war to take it away from them. Yet you don't have what you want because you don't ask God for it. See, the Bible says there are fights and conflicts in our lives. They all stem from us trying to get what we think will make us happy. So how do you and I fix this whole selfishness issue? Well, one way is to focus on a little phrase, and I call this a life-changing phrase. If you could focus on it and memorize it, it's this, real simple. It's not about me. Okay, it's not about me. If there's a relationship in your life that's broken, whether it be with a parent or a friend or whoever, things would be so different if you just kind of stopped in the midst of that conflict and said, it's not about me. Okay, it's not about me. And then you ask the question, what is this other person thinking or feeling, and how can I ignore my wants and my desires to help them, since really it's not about me? And I am so convinced that if you and I can learn to do this, that our relationships will quickly move to the road of health.
3 years ago, my little brother Steven was diagnosed with brain cancer. He was in remission for a few months there, and then it came back. About 5 months ago, he passed away, and we don't really understand, why. Well, now that I'm the only child, my parents, especially my mom, have been super overprotective about me because they don't want anything bad to happen to me. It's really hard to be with each other because half the time they don't want me to go do something that I want to do, and so I'm not happy whenever I'm around them. It just ends up us being in fights and me saying things that really hurt their feelings, and I just want to get away from them because they kind of drive me crazy sometimes, but them clinging on to me and me wanting to go away just causes a big clash. A lot of conflict has happened between me and my mom. Because lately we've been fighting nonstop. I think it's all of this anger building up inside of us, and we just take it out on each other, and I'm just like my mom, and we're the exact same person, and us both being super stubborn just makes us, one of us has to say the last word, and I do say some things that I feel really ashamed of after a conversation. She wants to be closer to me right now, but I'm pushing myself away, not wanting to be around her, and I regret saying those things because she really needs me right now.
Well, the first thing I'd want to say is how sad I am for Carolyn to lose a brother. I mean, that's big, and I am so sorry. Family tragedy is so painful, and because you can't escape your family, it's often intensified within the home. But here's something I've learned from working with so many people over the years, and I know that God's plan for you is to heal you of your pain. And sometimes that healing takes time, but God is a God who delights in putting broken pieces back together. And as a matter of fact, it says in the Bible in Romans 8:28 that all things work together for good for those who love God and are called according to his purpose. Now, this doesn't mean that all things that happen are good. That would be crazy. It means that if we live in God's plan for our life, or if we try to be followers of Jesus and obedient to him, we can make the worst of circumstances into something wonderful. And who doesn't want that? I know that Carolyn does. I can hear it in her voice. But the key to this whole thing is that we let God do his work. And that means following guidelines that God has given us in our life. Guidelines like, honor and respect your mom and dad, and even when it's difficult to do that. Now, I don't want to say to Carolyn or to anyone else who's having conflict with their parents is that you're wrong for feeling stifled or frustrated or misunderstood. You're not. I mean, it's okay to have those feelings, and even strong feelings when your parents are wrong. I mean, parents make mistakes. They're broken people too. And Carolyn would be wise to try to understand that her mom and dad are also dealing with a lot of pain right now. And I know it's weird to think about parents in pain, but I'm a parent of 3 teenagers myself, and I feel pain all the time. I mean, life is difficult for us parents too. But as I was listening to Carolyn's story, I couldn't help but notice that there was a lot of conflict happening between Carolyn and her mom, but there wasn't really a lot of communication. I mean, maybe this is true in your family too. I mean, conflict is when each side feels misunderstood or disrespected or frustrated or hurt, and then they lash out at the other person. And the way that many teenagers choose to express their conflict is in a disrespectful way, like yelling or accusing or rolling their eyes or ignoring or having bad body language or an attitude. And it's understandable why you'd want to do that, but I just want to tell you, it's not productive. The conflicts are rarely settled through poor communication.
I didn't believe in God. My mother's pagan and I grew up pagan. And I didn't necessarily believe in that either, but I considered that my religion. It wasn't Satanism, it was more just worshiping nature. I felt like every time I read the Bible, it contradicted itself. There were some verses in there that I couldn't stand, things in there that I looked at and I thought, oh, that's just stupid, nobody can live like that. Growing up pagan, we did just a lot of nature stuff. We had a garden in the backyard, and my mom called it our butterfly mating garden. And it was just small things like that. There were superstitions we had to abide by. When I first confessed, I really did want to talk to her about it, and I had a hard time keeping my mouth shut when it came to talking to her about it, and it did cause a lot of tension between us. And she hated it. She hated me for it. She wouldn't talk to me because she was scared I'd start trying to convert her again. Me and her have gotten in a few fights, and the conflict mainly arises when she gets mad at me. Sometimes she'll say, you know, you're not really a good Christian. She tries not to because she knows it hurts my feelings. If she wants to ground me, she'll ground me from church rather than grounding me from going to see friends. And it makes things a little harder in my house that we live 2 totally separate lives. Trying to share with my mom can be difficult because if I sit down and say, I want to talk to you about something, and I start mentioning God and Christ, she thinks I'm trying to convert her, and she feels like she's being forced into that, and that I won't care about her if she doesn't. And then finally, she told me, she said, if you really want me to change, and if you want me to follow Christ, don't tell me in your words. Show me in your actions.
It's so tough to live in a house with somebody who has different beliefs than you. You see, the potential for conflict is always there. It's looming since many of our day-to-day decisions are affected by our relationship with Jesus Christ, which other people in our family, they may just not get. And it's difficult to be Christ-like in every second of every day. And, you know, your family members, they see you in all the moments of life and the good, the bad, the irrational, the moody, and all the seasons. And here's where the relief comes in. God doesn't expect you to change a family member, or actually anyone for that matter, on your own power. I mean, you do your part to strive to be more like Jesus and to model God's love and forgiveness to others, especially those in your family. And then, as you do the possible, God will do the impossible. See, only God can change a heart. His love and His grace are stronger than anything you and I can deliver to our family. So, don't feel like you have to carry the weight of the entire Bible and try to be perfect or free from messing up. Just be normal. I mean, live out your faith in an authentic way, and your family members will see the difference. They'll see God's light in and through you. So just rest in God's mercy and power that ultimately is what brings other people to Him.
Here are a few things we talked about today. Communication is a huge key to navigating a relationship with your parents. Also, realize that the simple phrase, "it's not about me," can help keep things in perspective. Take a look at recording artist Joy Whitlock. She shares about growing up as a pastor's kid.
I grew up as a pastor's kid. Went to church every Sunday, every Wednesday night, every Sunday night. But I can honestly say that I was lost. It wasn't genuine or real. I had a really, really bad high school years. Started rebelling then and just getting into all kind of stuff. And I put put my parents through a lot those years. I used people, I used my family and manipulated them. I was into drugs and I just used them. You know, I remember my dad crying and my mom crying. I know that they spent nights like that because they knew their child was lost. And I began feeling guilty about a lot of the things that I was doing. And I went to see The Passion of the Christ with my mother. She asked me to go. And I don't know why I went, but I did. And I accepted Christ in my theater seat that night. I'm not that person anymore. And that's a big relief to know what I was and to know that God changed that. The album is called God and a Girl. It's basically just a chronicle of the past 4 years of my life. Now that I know who Jesus is. A lot of the songs tend to gravitate towards struggle just because that doesn't go away when you become a Christian. So I just want people to know they're not alone because that's how it feels sometimes when you go through struggles and difficulties and sorrows in life, is that you feel absolutely alone, and it's not true, and I want people to walk away with that.
There's peace in knowing you're not alone, no matter your struggle. We'll see you next time.